Doesn't that feel good? Thank you, Jason, and thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
And thank you, Deborah, for your willingness to be vulnerable and beautiful and wonderful and grateful and all that good stuff. Great talk. So welcome to this morning's 9 o'clock service. Again, my name is Andrea Recht. I'm a practitioner here, and I'm grateful. I'm afraid you're going to get sick and tired of hearing about gratitude because that's what we're going to be talking a lot about this month. I hope you don't get sick and tired of it. Happy November, happy fall. It's beginning to feel like fall finally, yes? I thought I saw somewhere that it was going to be in the 80s this coming week, but then I think it changed again. So hopefully we won't be facing any more of that really warm weather for a while now. So we started this month with an election, which a lot of us apparently were quite happy about, and others not so much, right? And it is what it is. Personally, I got to celebrate a landmark in my sobriety this month. I don't need to be anonymous about it. I turned 15 years sober this month, and I'm grateful for that. It is close to Thanksgiving holiday, and it's a time for a lot of us where we get to gather with friends and family and eat too much. It's also National Native American Heritage Month. So I have shared from this podium that when I discovered my birth family several years ago, I found out that my birth mother was Native American in an unrecognized by the federal government, and a federally unrecognized tribe called the Tuscaroras. And Reverend Jeannie did a beautiful Taizé service last Wednesday night, honoring National Native American Heritage Month. And she wove Native American stories together with prayer and chanting and silence. And if I did not come in person to that service, I hope some of you had a chance to be here for that. Thank you, Reverend Jeannie. I did catch it online, which you can do. And it's about an hour's worth of sacred honoring. And it's a beautiful, beautiful service. So I wanted to thank Reverend Jeannie for that. I wanted to thank Reverend Maureen for asking me to come share with you this morning, and for Reverend Mike's trust in me to do so, and Reverend Nancy, and all of the support that we get here in Spiritual Community. But in honoring National Native American Heritage Month, I wanted to start with an Iroquois prayer. I think the Tuscaroras are actually a branch of the larger Iroquois family. I don't know a lot about my tribe, but this is an Iroquois prayer that says this: We return thanks to our mother, the earth, which sustains us. We return thanks to the rivers and streams which supply us with water. We return thanks to all herbs which furnish medicine for the cure of our diseases. We return thanks to the moon and the stars which have given to us their light when the sun was gone. We return thanks to the sun that has looked upon the earth with a beneficent eye. And lastly, we return thanks to the Great Spirit, in whom is embedded all goodness, and who directs all things for the good of her children. And part of the chant that Jeannie included in the Wednesday night service was, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. It is Gratitude Month in some communities, including the Alcoholics Anonymous community. They pass the basket twice during Gratitude Month. The art of appreciation, isn't it? It's a spiritual practice that has pulled me up out of the dirt many times, just being grateful. There's a fun game that I play with myself. I play it with my students. I played it recently with my grandkids, the little ones and the older ones. So the little ones are 4 and 6.5. And we played the alphabet gratitude game. So A, I'm grateful for the air that I breathe. B, I'm grateful for my brother Bodie. C, I'm grateful for cookies. D, I'm grateful for the divine. E, I'm grateful for elephants. F, I'm grateful for friends and family. And I'm not going to go through the whole alphabet, although I could easily many times. And you get funny answers. I'm always grateful for ice cream. I'm sorry, I just am. Practicing Thanksgiving for the people, the events, the experiences, even if they don't look like what we wanted. So I heard a talk by Patrick Harbula, and he talks about radical gratitude. You've heard of radical forgiveness, but he talks about radical gratitude, and I think that's what he meant by it, that we can be grateful no matter what the results. And I've had the opportunity to practice that in the face of disappointment, in the face of feeling a sense of perhaps betrayal, in the face of receiving a diagnosis. I remember when I got the call, and it was right around Christmas time in 2011, that the results of my biopsy were, I had a little bit of cancer, is what the guy told me on the phone, a little bit. Yeah, you've got a little cancer there. And I thought, oh, it's just a little. But I got that diagnosis. And it would have been easy to say, why me? Or pour me a drink. But instead, because I was not a spiritual giant, but I had enough of this teaching under my belt that I couldn't unknow the truth, like Deborah so eloquently pointed out, that Reverend Nancy pointed out to her. Once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. So instead of poor me or why me, the response was, what is the lesson in this? What is the gift? And it reminds me of that story of the little boy who wakes up on Christmas morning and finds in the living room a big pile of horse manure. And he immediately jumps in it and starts digging, and the parents are horrified. Oh my God, what are you doing? And he says, well, with all this horse crap, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. So we look for the good so that we can be grateful, no matter what, even when it doesn't look like what we wanted. There's a poem by Mary Oliver that I'd like to share with you. And it goes like this. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention. And then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but a doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. This isn't a contest. It doesn't have to be elaborate. In fact, Eckhart Tolle said, if the only prayer we ever say is thank you, that's enough. Thank you. I'm grateful. The wonderful Louise Hay said that the universe loves gratitude. The universe is a generous, abundant giver, and it likes to be appreciated. Gratitude brings more to be grateful about. It increases your abundant life. It's another reason why being grateful is important to me, because I do find that when I'm grateful, I can be grateful for that too, and then that, and then that, and then you, and then you, and then you, and you, and you, and you, and all of you. I can be grateful to Reverend Nancy for her spiritual greatness, and to Deborah for hers, and her willingness to be vulnerable so that I can relate. Our owner, Ernest Holmes, says that an attitude of gratitude is most salutary. Sorry I don't have slides, but thank you for putting up something beautiful that they could look at. So Reverend Nancy and I are just about 3 weeks outside of finishing the foundations class. And one of the main things that we teach in the class is the creative process, right? Because we want to be aware of how we're creating. Like Deborah said, we want to understand that we are painting our own canvas. And so how do we do that? So the curriculum teaches us, and we offer to the students who are new to the teaching, the garden analogy. The seed gets placed into the soil, and the flower grows, or the carrot grows, or the tomato grows. And if I plant a carrot seed, I'm going to get a carrot. I'm not going to get a tomato. So when we plant seeds of thanksgiving and gratitude, we produce more to be grateful for. It's the way the universe works. You've heard where our focus goes, energy flows, or I've also heard where attention goes, energy flows, or where energy flows, or energy flows where our attention goes. And Beckwith, I've shared this in class and from here a number of times. When you trust more in what you don't see than what you do see you won't see, and what you don't see, you will see. When I put my faith and my energy into what I don't always see, which is always infinite possibilities. Like Deborah said, we go from good to great, to greater, to better, to magnificent, to glorious, to our greater yet to be, because it's an abundant universe, and the givingness of spirit is infinite. So we be careful and aware and conscious of the seeds that we're planting. And there's more. And what I mean by that is sometimes it's hard for me to put words to how grateful I am. It's easy to say thank you, I'm grateful. But there's a feeling tone to it that is hard to put words to for me. Never mind all the research. Wayne shared one day about gratitude scoring the highest on the scale of whatever it was you were talking about. It scores higher than peace, higher than love, higher than joy. At the top of the list is gratitude. And if you go on the internet and go down the rabbit hole like I did, you'll see that there is so much research that is being done on gratitude. There's a study, and it's called, sorry, my notes are a little bit scattered today, see? No, they're not. They're in perfect order. The Science of Gratitude. And it was put out in May of 2018 by the Greater Good Science Center at Berkeley. And they asked, in the research, they're posing questions about what gratitude is. Is it an emotion? Is it a virtue? Is it a behavior? They look at the origins of gratitude, the cultural construct, the evolutionary roots in history, the impact that it has on our DNA and on our neural pathways. And all of these things are looked at in this study. But let's just talk about the simple things to understand for me, because some of that neuro stuff is out of my league. But gratitude has been scientifically shown to improve our physical health. And, of course, our sense of well-being. It increases our satisfaction with life, just being grateful. Obviously increases our positive affect, our happiness, cancels out negativity. It increases our coping capacity, motivates self-improvement. It increases our self-esteem, and it activates other virtues like patience, humility, and wisdom. This study has shown that it has a beneficial impact on children and adolescents. And I noticed when I was doing this little alphabet game with my kids, there was joy in it. There was so much joy, even in the silly responses that I got from my 14-year-old grandson that I won't share with you. Because he's a 14-year-old boy. Gratitude promotes pro-social behavior. Don't we need more of that around? Not around here, but around. And still there's more. So Eckhart Tolle says that acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. I didn't use the talk notes this week. And I think the talk notes that are put out by central office were different than Reverend Mike's themes for the month, which his is be true to thine own self be true. And then I think the talk notes put out by Central were something about abundance. I remember when Beckwith at Agape did that talk on abundance, and he said, dance. And he started shaking his booty, saying, oh, look, I'm doing abundance. And that was, I think, the theme for the month. Now it's taken on a life of its own. Anyway. So we already talked about how acknowledging the good that we already have in our life is the foundation for all abundance or abundance. A. Milne, the Winnie the Pooh, said this: Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. The monk, whose name is David Rast, said that this is so interesting to me. I love this one, really resonated with me. It's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy. And I thought about that for a while. And it's true for me that the more grateful I am, the happier I am. And still there's more. Tara Brach is a psychologist and a Buddhist and a meditation teacher. She has a wonderful website and does Dharma talks every week and has beautiful guided meditations. And I listened to one of her talks on gratitude. And then it kind of sealed the deal for me. It was sort of the nail on the head, the icing on the cake. She said this: gratitude arises when we are in sacred relationship with life. Present, open, and receptive. Y'all remember, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighbor, would you be mine? The wonderful Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. And he said this: I believe that appreciation is a holy thing. That when we look for what's best in the person that we happen to be with at the moment, we're doing what God does. So in loving and appreciating our neighbor, we are participating in something truly sacred. And that got closer for me to how gratitude is for me. Gratitude arises when we are in sacred relationship with life. Present, open, and receptive. And when I can say thank you no matter what is going on within and without. She tells another story, Tara Brach does in this talk, about a gentleman named James Agee, who is an American historian and author. And he told this story that she retells in her talk. That during the Great Depression, he found an elderly woman, impoverished, in the hollows of Appalachia, living in a tiny shack, with dirt floors, no heat, no plumbing. And he said to her, what would you do if someone came along and gave you some money to help you out? And she thought about it for a moment, and then she looked at him and she said, I guess I'd give it to the poor. Because she was grateful. She didn't see herself as poor. She was grateful for what she had. Indulge me for a moment and turn to somebody and say, I am grateful for you. And now tell me that I am grateful for my life. I'm grateful the way that Spirit shows up as my life. I am grateful for all I have. I'm grateful for all I am. And I am grateful for you. So join me for a moment in prayer, if you would. Just recognizing once again that there is a power and a presence and one life of all, and no other power exists outside of the infinite. This power is beauty. It is joy. It is love. It is peace. It is abundant and abundance. And I am one with it. My life is an expression of it. I am what thou art, and thou art what I am. How grateful I am for this moment, the eternal nowness of this moment, in which I recognize that I have so much to be thankful and grateful for and about. That even in the midst of it, so-called adversity, even in the midst of what feels like despair or danger or fear or doubt or worry, there is so much for me to be thankful and grateful for. So in this moment, I just give thanks for all that is. I give thanks for all that was, and I give thanks for all that ever shall be, knowing that God is all there is and God is good, so I can declare that it is all good because it is all God. And for this, I remain thankful and so very, very grateful as I remain in sacred relationship with life. So I just release this word to that aspect of infinite intelligence known as law, which always and only says yes. So I know it is done, I know it is so, and I can just let it be. And in agreement, we say together, and so it is.